Hey guys, Bert the Stormtrooper coming at you from the Mobile Command Studio with another edition of Dirt Rage. And man, this time I've got just a whole roller coaster of emotions going on. So let's just jump right into it. So K-Mart is closing. That's big news. K-Mart's closing. Now, we've all seen K-Mart pretty much bleeding to death over the last decade. So no surprise there, but I'm used to seeing stores, they'll be open one day and then the next day I'll look over and they're closed and oh wow, there's another one that closed, there's another one that closed. And you know, I've been seeing them do that over the last decade here in my area. And just didn't really, sink in or, feel anything about it. We've all seen the decline, right? Well, the last remaining K-Mart that I'm aware of in my area is closing. And I got an opportunity to go visit. They're doing a whole store clearance sale and whatnot. So my wife and I went and checked it out over the weekend. And man, it really hit me. And it was kind of an emotional ride for me, because I remember a time when K-Mart wasn't as bad as it became over the last decade and a half or however long. I remember a time back before Walmart, back before Target. I remember a time when K-Mart was a good department store. There was a K-Mart in the mall where I grew up, and it was a cool store to go to. And I went there a lot when I was a kid and shopped for toys and video. It's actually, K-Mart was where I bought my first Nintendo, was at K-Mart. So a lot of memories growing up at K-Mart. The one growing up at K-Mart, wow. Growing up going to K-Mart. The one that I used to go to, it didn't have the little cafe area, but it had, it sort of did. It had a counter for snack. It had a snacks counter. So you could walk up to the counter and get an icy and get little fried foods and stuff like that. And they also had a donut maker. And it was this really cool automated thing where they would put the batter in and this arm would swing side to side and it would just poop out the little, rings of dough into the oil. And there was like this little oil stream that went along the counter, and there was a glass, and all the kids would always have their heads, stuck up against the glass, watching the donuts get made, and the donuts would float along, and they would get up to halfway, and then the thing would flip them over, and then they float the rest of the way. They go up a little ramp so that they could drain, and then they drop on a plate where they would put powdered sugar on them and whatnot. And all the kids, we were up against the glass watching that. We always wanted to get a fresh made donut and an icy. So a lot of memories growing up going to K-Mart back in the day when it was, a good store, not overpriced, not poorly stocked, not poorly, if at all, staffed, And so that was kind of emotional, kind of hit me when I finally got to be in the store and see the depth of it in person, and just kind of a send-off. And it was just really, really sad. I was just kind of walking around real silent, keeping to myself. My wife kept asking me, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I'm just, kind of thinking back and reminiscing and just kind of, gathering my thoughts, So it was just really, really weird. And I'm sad to see K-Mart go, not the K-Mart of the last 10 years, but the K-Mart of my childhood. I'm sad to see it go. So there's that. And I went to Toys R Us, which I don't like doing anymore because I've talked about this dozens of times here. Just poorly stocked, if at all stocked. The service is just not there, and et cetera, et cetera. I try not to go to Toys R Us anymore, and when I do, I leave exasperated so I try not to. But I heard that they had the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and they did, just not the one that I was looking for. So apparently, I was looking for the movie Masterpiece Optimus Prime. They didn't have that one, but apparently MP10 has a current re-release. So that's out on stores right now. If you missed out on MP10, that's available at Toys R Us. It's going for about $150. I don't think that's terrible considering MP10 originally went for 120 some years ago. So I guess that's not too terrible of a markup. But there it is. So 150 bucks if you want an MP10 brand new in the box. It's at Toys R Us right now. So there's that. But I realized something while I was at Toys R Us. I went there Saturday morning, and I noticed something. Toys R Us is turning into K-Mart, and it is soon going to, if they don't do something about it, we're going to watch it bleed out and die, just like we've watched K-Mart do over the last decade. You know, Saturday morning, when I worked at Toys R Us, Saturday mornings were our busiest time of the week. Saturday mornings is when we had the most staff on the clock. It was all hands on deck. We had activities for the kids. You know, usually we had Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments going on, Pokemon tournaments going on, Lego building things happening. You know, there was always some kind of an activity happening at Toys R Us on Saturday mornings. The stores were packed, just absolutely packed. Those were our busiest times of the week. This past Saturday morning when I was at the store, there was nobody there. I think there was 3 people on staff total, possibly. That's it, and 2 customers, and that includes me. So, you know, and as usual, nothing was stocked. Very little stock, if anything. The aisles were just a complete mess. Everything's overpriced. Nobody knows anything. You ask a question, nobody knows anything. So again, you know, I left there disappointed and exasperated like I usually do, but also realizing, oh my God, this has become K-Mart. There's no stock. Everything's a mess. There's nobody here. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody has any answers to any questions, and everything is overpriced. That's what K-Mart has been over the last decade. So, and I thought to myself, you know, like I just mentioned, we're going to watch Toys R Us bleed out and die, just like we did with K-Mart over the last decade. And as I'm thinking that was on Saturday. Today is Monday, and I saw a news story online today. Now, again, take it with a grain of salt. It's a story that I saw online. It's from a UK-based website, something like some uk.finance.yahoo, some amalgamation thereof. But they reported, and at the risk of overusing the word, but this is using their words, that Toys R Us is reportedly going to file for bankruptcy before the Christmas season. So they say reportedly. That's not to say they're actually doing it. This is just a story that they're saying that they might be. But there you go. I mean, that's just the first signs right there. You know, if it is true, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. Not at all. What can Toys R Us possibly do to save themselves at this point? I mean, the way that company's been getting ran over the last decade, nothing. They're going to kill themselves. You know, that company's committed suicide. But, you know, I saw a store here in my area that opened recently. There's a particular area where Toys R Us has been trying to get into over the last couple of years. There's a mall there. There's no Toys R Us building. They tried opening like a Toys R Us outlet in the mall. It ran for 2 Christmas seasons, I think, and then it disappeared. And then across the highway from the mall, there's a strip mall. And they opened a spot there in the strip mall. And I thought it was genius when I saw it. It's a smaller version of the store that you're used to seeing. So it was about the size of a Petco. If you know what a Petco looks like when you walk in, you know, or a Best Buy, you know, it's about the size of one of those. So, you know, a little smaller, but because it's smaller, easier to stock. They're, you know, and also they're probably keeping it stocked because it's a newer store in the area. But with lesser space, it's easier to stock. You know, the aisles look fuller. Everything is clean. It looks new. It looks modern. And you know, when you think about it, getting rid of the overhead of having your own buildings. Toys R Us is always in their own buildings. That's a lot of overhead to pay for. That's a lot of room to have to stock for. You know, and they're billions of dollars in the hole right now. So I thought this was a great idea, and I think personally that if Toys R Us were to go away from their own buildings, just get rid of all of that, and go into these strip malls and do these smaller boutique style stores, that would save them a lot of money and bring a lot of people back into the store. It looks newer, it looks modern. You know, that store is staffed. You know, that plus learn to work in tandem with your online, because everything is going online, sad to say. I've also talked about this here before. I prefer to shop in person than online because I just want to go get it and have it in hand right now and see in my hands what I'm getting. That's just personal, but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people find it more convenient to just shop online, and I understand that. Toys R Us needs to learn how to work with that as well. Are they going to do that? Probably not, because the common sense doesn't seem to be the thing with that company anymore. Sad to say. But anyway, so there it is. Toys R Us reportedly filing for bankruptcy before the Christmas season this year. So that might be the beginning of the end for them. So there it is. So a lot of sadness going on. Sad to see K-Mart die. Sad to learn that Toys R Us may possibly be following soon. Now, one thing that did bother me, just a sidestep here, I am kind of upset about something. I don't usually let comments bother me here on the channel, and I don't know if I'm so really pissed or what it is, but I do want to make something clear. Somebody made a comment to me on a recent video, and the comment was asking how much I get paid to say that I love every toy I review. And I want to make that very, very clear. I don't get paid anything to make these videos. I don't have any sponsors. I don't get paid to say anything. I do make money off of the regular YouTube ads program. That I do make money off. It's not something to make a living off of. Obviously, I'm coming home from work right now. But it is, you know, a little bit of change that I put right back into the channel, into getting, you know, stuff for lights and the backgrounds that I bought. You know, I buy more figures with it, video games, that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's play money for me. But I do not get paid. I don't have sponsorships. I don't get paid to talk about anybody in particular, anybody's store, anything. The times that I've talked about people's stores, like when I've talked about Cybertron video games and stuff like that, it's because I go there and I like what I see. I like the way they treat me, and I give them a mention and I talk about them. I've developed a relationship with Gus from Cybertron's video games, so I like to mention him often. But I don't get paid. He doesn't give me video games. He doesn't pay me nothing. And I do not get paid by Hasbro or anybody else to say that I love the toys that I'm reviewing. Absolutely, I don't get a red cent for any of that. I said this in my first video. I said that I love every figure in my collection. Every piece of my collection, I love it. Even if it's a bad toy, I love it. And I love it because it's mine and it's part of my collection. And it adds to my room and it adds to my shelf. And I can absolutely find a bad toy and agree that it is a bad toy and still love it. A perfect example of that is the Prime that I most recently reviewed, which was the Titan Robots in Disguise figure. And I said on the video, I absolutely thought it was horrible. I like the truck mode, but the robot mode, which usually when I get him in the robot mode, what do I say about Primes? Oh, he looks awesome. I turn him in the robot mode and I say, this thing looks awful. It's absolutely hideous. And it is. It's got no articulation. It's a hideous looking figure. But I love it. I still love that figure. It's one of those, it's almost like when you watch a bad movie that's so bad that you enjoy it. It's so bad it's good. It's one of those cases for me. I really, honestly and truly enjoyed that figure, and I still do. Even though it's a bad figure, nobody paid me to say it's good. Nobody paid me to say I love it. Nobody is paying me to say anything. What you're hearing are my opinions, period. So, that being said, what else? One last thing. We're going on 15 minutes here, so we're going long. I finally watched Transformers 5 the last night, and I'm still speechless. I still don't even know what to say about that thing. I did not watch it in theaters, which is the first time I do not watch a movie in theaters. A Transformers movie in theaters. That's the first time. I just heard so many bad things about it from sources that I trust that I said, hold up, I am not paying for this movie. I watched it on Showbox. I watched it for free. We tried watching it about a week ago at my house, the kids and the wife and I. We sat down to watch it. We got about 25 minutes into the movie when everybody was saying, can we please turn this off and put on something else? And I completely agreed. I'm like, yeah, I don't blame anybody. This movie's terrible. I don't know what we're watching. I don't know what's going on here right now. It just seemed like a bunch of scenes just thrown in there that didn't really make... There was no cohesion, nothing. There was just scenes at random that didn't seem to follow one another or tell a story or anything. We had no idea what was going on. So, turned it off. We watched Pirates instead. Love that, enjoyed that. So yesterday I was home alone and I decided, you know what, I'm home alone. I'm a Transformers guy. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch this movie all the way through. Maybe it'll make sense later on. Maybe I just need to watch the whole movie, whatever. No, just more scenes of explosions and product placement and people running and just kind of just there. And I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I am speechless. I'm not trying to be hateful for the sake of being hateful or for funny or anything like that. I honestly don't even know what to say about that movie. It was that confusing. It was that bad. That's the only thing I know for sure that I can tell you about that movie is that I didn't like it. I did not like what I saw. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I watched it for free offline. I'm glad I didn't pay for that. I will not be purchasing the DVD or anything like that. Nothing. Blu-ray, whatever. Just, I didn't like it. It was awful. Awful, awful, awful. So, if you enjoyed it, awesome, good for you, but I tried. I tried watching it twice. Didn't like it. And you know, at this point, I would hope that they just stop. And I know there's a new Bumblebee movie that's supposedly in the works and all of that, but I mean, at this point, I don't want to see a reboot or a remake or a rehash or just stop. Just stop. Stop making the movies. Leave them alone. Just leave the franchise alone. Let it sit. I don't know, another 20 years or so, and then give somebody else a chance maybe in 20 years. Just stop. These movies they keep trying to retell their own history. It's like they're retconning themselves in every movie. They tell a different... I don't know, and into it. That's what I would like to see. I would like for these projects to just get dropped and forgotten. And just leave the franchise alone. I know they're supposed to sell toys and ads and all of that, but how much toys are they still really selling? When I think about the toys that came out for this movie, that's a fraction of the toys that have come out for the first three. When Revenge of the Fallen was coming out, I remember there was the entire aisles dedicated to Transformers. You know, and for this last movie, it's just not that much, you know? It's a fraction of them. And the few toys that I have seen stock for this movie, they're not really moving. You know, so how many kids are actually watching these movies still? And how many kids are running to the stores going, Mommy, get me the movie Optimus, get me the movie Bumblebee. That's not happening. In fact, Bumblebee, which was the character to market for the previous movies, I think I've seen him once on shelves. You know, they're not even marketing him all that much anymore. So, I don't know. I don't know. I think the live-action Bayverse movies have run their course, and it's time to just drop the project, leave it alone, and just walk away. That's what I would like to see, but whatever. Alrighty, we are going on 20 minutes. This is a long one, so I think we are going to cut it off right there. I'm angry at Transformers. I'm angry at people saying I'm getting paid for shit that I'm not. And I'm sad to see K-Mart go, and sad to see that Toys R Us may follow suit. There it is. So, how do I always send these things? I've just suddenly blanked. Man, because I'm seeing the 20-minute mark on there, and suddenly I got nervous. Oh my God, I got to cut it off. So, as usual, let me know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment, give me some thumbs up, subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time.